to comprehend.
Space is fake AF.
Two little bitty O-rings.
Space is fake AF.
It's not what you think, homeboy.
Space is fake AF.
It's all just start doing this.
Space is fake AF.
Research Eddie Bravo. You just have a leak, and what you would do is lose air.
Alright, that is Chief Crow. Space is fake AF. I'll drop a link to this track below. Go ahead and subscribe to his channel. Leave a comment. Say the IPS sent you. We have about 26 in chat right now. We just hit live. The audio streams are still down. The backup laptop that has the encoder went down. The gremlins got it. I'm waiting to see if it charges, but I think it was just a short possibly, so I moved it to another outlet, and it seems to be charging, but it's out of commission at this time. But you can still find us on every live streaming platform. I'm still on Rumble, although they're going down. Rumble, like a lot of the far-right infrastructure, seems to be undergoing a controlled demolition as we speak. Tonight we're going to be talking about, among other things, Ohio, Ground Zero, Civil War. If you recall, we were recently speaking about the movie White Noise and how it was very predictive of Palestine, Ohio. So if you haven't seen it, White Noise, the movie, is about a blackout and a toxic airborne event. And if you look at the imagery from the movie, everyone's fleeing, and there's this like mushroom cloud. Now, this preceded a train, and it was caused by a train derailment. And this was followed by a real-life derailment, and that derailment was in East Palestine, Ohio. Now, the significance to the train derailment, it's sort of like the Titanic sinking. And I noticed something with Boeing, by the way, with all the Boeing disasters, like the tailpipe from the C-17 falling. Boeing has been accused of crony capitalism. So what we're seeing here is the controlled demolition of things that would typify that. And the trains were deregulated by Trump, presumably because of greed. That's their narrative. And so it's sort of almost a metaphor. I guess I would call it a metaphor for America having a heart attack because it's not taking care of itself. It's putting too much strain on its system, and it's being driven by unhealthy approaches to putting profit over people, etc. And I say this because Ohio is the heart of it all. That's one of the meanings or the slogans of the state, the heart of it all. And so I'm like looking at this derailment as very symbolic. And this was last year before we had the event in Israel, the whole 10-7 thing. So the East Palestine, Ohio PSYOP was, I think, predictive of something coming. And so we've been looking at East Palestine, Ohio in this context. Then this article came out called The Most Important 42 Miles in American Politics by the Washington Examiner. And it describes how in American politics the most important stretch of land is that between Butler, Pennsylvania and East Palestine. It's a 42-mile long distance between the two, the drive. And this area is highly significant for several reasons symbolically. And as far as the metascript goes, we're talking about the heart of it all, also relating to possibly Israel. There's just these connections, the heart of the nation. So that there's a symbolic meaning behind this. And by the way, the people who lived in East Palestine, among them, were extras from the movie White Noise. So they were interviewed because they were being evacuated for a situation that was just like the movie that they just were extras in. And the media had to comment on this obvious instance of predictive programming. Predictably, they called it an eerie coincidence. InfoWars, predictably, called it revelation of the method. Both of them are equally wrong, but we know what it is. So now, back to this 42-mile stretch of land and this talk of Ohio. Well, as of right now, one of the big stories is that there was some kind of evacuation of various schools in Ohio because of the anti-immigrant rhetoric about the cat-eating Haitian stuff spread by J.D. Vance and Donald Trump. So now you have rhetoric, like I've been saying, memes scare the people, the cat memes, and now they're claiming that this has precipitated bomb threats. So here's a quote from an article on Raw Story. In Springfield, Ohio, there have been a massive rise in communicable diseases, rent prices, car insurance rates, and crime, Vance wrote. This is what happens when you drop 20,000 people into a small community. Illegal alien invasion. He goes on to say, 5 minutes later, quote, don't let biased media shame you into not discussing the slow-moving humanitarian crisis in a small Ohio town. We should talk about it every day. Now, this is followed by a bomb threat forcing evacuations at Springfield City Hall. Quote, information received from the state fire marshal spurred another evacuation from Fulton Elementary School. Earlier, Vance spread the false claim on X. That's the key. X is the vector for the rage virus that has caused this. Bomb threats. This is the rage virus I've been talking about, and it's coming from the right. That Haitian immigrants were stealing and eating pets, a claim sourced back to a questionable Facebook post denied by the police. I was talking about this earlier today when I was on a live painting stream about how the auto belief of the mainstream, they automatically believe what they're shown, is mirrored by the auto belief of the alternative narrative by alt media. Everybody fell for it, and many are still falling for it. And their evidence are these 30-minute long videos where you have these crisis actor like slobs just talking about what they saw. And I don't buy it. You know, today, if there's a fight on the street, somebody's recording it. If there was somebody eating a cat in a park, it would be on TikTok and Instagram in seconds from multiple angles. And yet all we have is hearsay. And to fall for that on 9/11 is even worse. Because we're talking about psyops that are spread by word of mouth, secondhand information, relying on actors to carry the messaging. And so you're getting the second-hand account, no direct witnesses. Maybe that was acceptable 23 years ago, but everybody has a phone right now. So I'm saying pics or it didn't happen. Disbelieve by default. And even if pics are supplied, you have to look at those closely because they had a picture of a guy carrying a goose. And it turns out that that wasn't from Springfield and he wasn't Haitian. Not to mention just the gross misrepresentation of voodoo and animal sacrifice and how it's been turned into some kind of Hollywood horror show version of what is really just kind of typical human behavior, butchering animals. But in the idea of sacrifice, it's not the same thing as animal abuse. I would just say that it's been mischaracterized. Nobody in that realm is killing animals as a part of it. Not that I know of. And I've read quite a few books on it, and I was talking about this earlier. I couldn't find any references to cats. And all these various deities that are propitiated with libations, animals included, they have very specific ones. And I haven't seen cats. But when animals are sacrificed in that context, they're eaten. It's not like it's just some kind of sadistic killing of animals for no other reason than somehow getting some kind of demonic entity to do your bidding. It doesn't work like that. That's a Hollywood construct. But they're evoking that on purpose. But it's completely dishonest, is my point. So here's what Mike Rothschild had to say about it. He's the author of some anti-Q books. He's a non-believer in predictive programming. That makes him a reality denialist. Somebody says the volume's down. Let me see if I can fix that. Because, yeah, it looks like the volume's down. Okay, well, I'll have to take a look and see if I can fix that. Very interesting. Well, my other computer's also down, which is kind of weird. So it looks like it could. It's also an old mic. I'll see if I can fix it, but I might have to stop the stream and reboot.